drop the seeds in, and I would actually have these adjusted down to this next notch about ½ inch lower, because you can see they're almost like not even going under the soil surface in some spots. But it'll just drop the seeds in, singulate, this shoe will close it, and this is going to tamp it down. So this is pretty much exactly what your soil surface looks like afterward. And if you keep the moisture high enough on this, when your seeds are ready for your temperatures, like, you will get insane, extremely consistent germination. And they end up looking like really beautiful rows. It's the kind of stuff where when people come to your farm, they're just like, so if I plant carrots, for instance, I've kind of found that the density that I like to grow them at is 5 rows per bed. And so I kind of do a goofy thing, and I'll load 3 hoppers. I'll get the proper wheel for it. Carrots and salad mix, or lettuce in particular, lettuce mixes that use an oblong seed. They have a different roller that, instead of being just like a round little divot in there, it's like a plus shape. And so basically the seeds can either fall in upright or sideways. So I use that for carrots and for lettuce mixes. And what I'll do is I'll load all 3 of these, and on my first pass down the bed, I'll keep this one just detached and sitting like this so that it won't actually advance the wheel inside there. And then I basically go up one direction. When I get to the end of the bed, I'll just lift the front wheels, roll it out to tamp that last little bit. I'll flip around my other way, put this guy in, and then knock it back the other direction. And that's basically what your end result is. And it's very, very, very easy to harvest from this using that Quick Cuts greens harvester that we were talking about earlier, because you're going to get like very smooth results. Like, I mean, there's a tiny bit of oscillation, but this is extremely minimal. If your soil is quite loose, like let's say you were doing it the way that I was describing earlier, and you don't want to have, you're starting out with fewer tools, and you mix your amendments on there, you use that tilther to mix it in, and your soil's looser because you haven't advanced to using like a tamper to press everything down, you'll get a bigger ridge in the center, and sometimes it will benefit you to roll over the center of the bed with something to get that ridge down, so that when you're actually using that greens harvester, you're not scooping a little ridge of soil during your whole harvest. I do spinach the exact same way. I like to have 5 rows on a bed. With radishes, I do 3 rows on a bed, and I go ahead and I just do those with the single row Jang cedar. I don't feel the need to like mess around with all my rollers and stuff on this one just to do radishes. Beets, I do 2 rows per bed. I use the single row. Sunflowers, they actually have a wheel that they sell that has 12 holes instead of 24, and ones that have 6 holes instead of 24. And so you can get them to spread out as much as 2 feet between each seed that's dropped. And you can go in there and you can use rollers that, instead of having little holes in them, they actually have like a little channel or like rectangle chopped out of the whole top of it, so that it's designed to hold multiple seeds but still drop them at the same spacing. So if you went like, oh, I'm planting something that maybe has like 60% germ, I want to at least get 2 seeds per 2 feet, then you'd be able to roll it and you'd be able to drop like consistently 2-3 seeds. Yeah, anyway, that kind of wraps this up. I wanted to mention one other thing. Does anybody have questions more on this? No? That Quick Cuts greens harvester, I also use it for harvesting microgreens, and it works amazing for harvesting microgreens. So they sell an attachment. You don't need to have an attachment, but it's called the quick stand. Basically clamps onto a table, clamps onto the harvester, and it holds it so that the blade is suspended whatever size or height you want above the table, so that you can basically slide your tray up to it, make it like 1/8 of an inch higher than your tray, and then you basically just turn it on and you can just slide the tray under it and it will perfectly cut the whole tray. It's way more consistent than doing it by hand. And then you can just take the thing, it pivots, and you can have a bin on the ground and you can just dump all the microgreens in there. So we don't do a whole lot of microgreens. We're only doing like 20 trays a week right now. But since I already had the greens harvester, getting that little attachment was kind of like a no-brainer, because it took the harvest time probably down to like 20% of its normal length. All right, I think it's wood chipper time. I did Hill Farm in 2019 with my sister, and then I ended up meeting my partner in the program. She went through it independently,